Hello, champions. How are you holding up? I hope everything's going well, and welcome back to the Self-Help Podcast, your weekly dose of motivation, airing every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Diep Pham. Yes, it's me again, the creator of this podcast and your companion on the path to life transformation. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's dive into today's episode. Episode number 4. Best Productivity Bundle for Professionals. As always, here on the Self-Help Podcast, you'll discover all the right tools and mindsets to help you master your personal growth and take control of your success. Everything we talk about, including resources, free templates, and actionable guides, will be linked right in the video description below. So don't worry about taking notes. Just sit back, listen, and absorb, because our 4th episode is about to begin. Best Productivity Bundle for Professionals, the True Review. When was the last time you finished your workday feeling genuinely satisfied? Not exhausted. Not guilty about what you didn't accomplish. But truly proud of everything you got done? For most of us, that feeling is rare, almost non-existent. Instead, we end our days feeling like we ran a marathon, but somehow never crossed the finish line. We worked all day, yet the most important stuff? Still sitting there, waiting, mocking us. You're not alone in this struggle. Millions of professionals around the world are facing the exact same problem, chasing productivity, but never quite feeling productive enough. The problem isn't you. The problem is that most of us are trying to be productive without a real system. We're relying on willpower, motivation, and hoping that tomorrow we'll magically have more focus. But here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. Willpower runs out. Motivation fades. And hope without strategy is just wishful thinking. That's why today we're diving deep into productivity bundles, specifically looking at what makes a great productivity bundle for busy professionals like you. Whether you are an entrepreneur juggling multiple projects, a corporate professional drowning in meetings, or a creative trying to balance client work with your own vision, this episode will help you understand exactly what you need. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Another productivity solution? Believe me, I have tried everything. I hear you. Your bookshelf probably looks like mine used to. Filled with productivity books you bought with enthusiasm, read maybe 3 chapters, and then never touched again. You've downloaded apps. You've tried methods. You've watched countless YouTube videos about morning routines and time blocking. But nothing stuck. And that's exactly why we need to talk about comprehensive productivity bundles today. Because the issue isn't the individual tactics. It's that you've been collecting puzzle pieces without seeing the full picture. Let me paint a scenario for you. Imagine this. It's Monday morning. You sit down at your desk with your coffee, ready to tackle the week. You open your laptop, and immediately you're hit with 73 emails. Your phone buzzes with a Slack message. Someone pops their head into your office with a quick question that turns into 20 minutes. By the time you actually start on your most important project, it's almost lunchtime. Your brain is already tired from all the context switching. And that task you really needed to finish today? You tell yourself you'll do it after lunch. After lunch, there are meetings. By 3 p.m., you're in that afternoon energy slump. You grab another coffee. You try to focus. But your brain feels like it's moving through mud. By 5 p.m., or more likely 6 or 7, you're exhausted. You didn't finish the important thing. You'll have to work on it tomorrow. Again. This is the cycle that traps millions of professionals every single day. And here's what most people don't realize. The problem isn't time management. You don't need more hours in the day. The problem is that you're missing 3 critical elements. First, you need to understand how your attention actually works. Not how you wish it worked. How it actually works in the real world with real distractions. Second, you need practical systems that don't require you to be perfect. Systems that work even when life gets messy. And third, You need to address the psychological barriers. The procrastination, the perfectionism, the fear that keeps you scrolling through your email instead of starting that intimidating project. Most productivity advice only addresses one of these elements. Usually the first one. They teach you tactics but ignore your psychology. Or they focus on mindset but don't give you practical tools. That's where a comprehensive productivity bundle becomes invaluable. Now, before we go further, let me be clear about something. I'm going to talk about what makes an effective productivity bundle, and I'll reference a specific example, the productivity bundle. But this isn't just an advertisement. I genuinely want you to understand what to look for in any productivity system, whether you choose that bundle or create your own approach. The principles matter more than any single product. So let's break down what actually works. A truly effective productivity bundle for professionals needs to address focus fundamentals. And I don't mean just telling you to eliminate distractions. That's obvious. Everyone knows distractions are bad. What you need is a deep understanding of how attention works in your brain. Why do you get distracted? What triggers your mind to wander? How long can you actually sustain focus before you need a break? Most people try to force themselves to focus for hours at a time, and then feel like failures when they can't do it. But neuroscience tells us that sustained attention naturally fluctuates. Your brain wasn't designed for 8 hours of continuous focus. So instead of fighting your biology, you need to work with it. That means learning your natural attention patterns. When is your brain sharpest? When does it naturally want to rest? How can you structure your day around these rhythms instead of against them? A good productivity bundle will include assessment tools that help you discover your own patterns. Not some guru's ideal schedule. Your actual patterns. For example, I'm most creative in the morning between 8 and 11. My brain is sharp, ideas flow easily, and writing feels almost effortless. But by 2 p.m., my creative energy is gone. If I try to write something original at 2 p.m., it's like pulling teeth. But you know what I can do at 2 p.m.? Administrative tasks, emails, scheduling, data entry. Tasks that don't require peak cognitive power. Once I figured this out and started aligning my task types with my energy levels, my productivity probably doubled. Not because I worked more hours. Because I stopped wasting my best hours on tasks that didn't need them. That's the kind of practical insight a comprehensive bundle should provide. The second element you need is energy management, not just time management. Here's a radical idea. Your problem might not be that you don't have enough time. Your problem might be that you don't have enough energy during the time you do have. Think about it. You could have 4 completely uninterrupted hours to work on your most important project. But if you're exhausted, distracted, and running on fumes, those 4 hours won't produce much. On the other hand, if you have just 90 minutes but you're mentally fresh, energized, and focused, you can accomplish more in that 90 minutes than most people do in an entire day. Energy management means understanding that not all hours are created equal. A morning hour when you're fresh is worth 3 afternoon hours when you're depleted. It also means learning to protect and replenish your energy. What drains you? Is it meetings? Is it certain types of work? Is it particular people or situations? And what recharges you? For some people, it's physical movement. For others, it's quiet time alone. For some, it's creative work that feels like play rather than labor. A solid productivity bundle will help you map your energy patterns over a week, and then redesign your schedule accordingly. This alone can transform your entire work experience. Now let's talk about the third critical element. Habit formation. Here's the hard truth. You already have productivity habits. They're just bad habits. You have a habit of checking your phone first thing in the morning. You have a habit of opening email before you start real work. You have a habit of saying yes to every meeting request. You have a habit of working until you're completely exhausted before you take a break. These habits aren't serving you, but they're deeply ingrained. And the problem is, you can't just decide to stop a bad habit. Your brain doesn't work that way. You have to replace bad habits with better ones. And that requires understanding how habit formation actually works. Most people approach habits with pure willpower. They decide, starting Monday, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and work out. And Monday goes great. Tuesday is harder. By Wednesday, they hit snooze. By next Monday, they're back to their old routine. The reason this happens is because they're trying to create a habit without the proper structure. Habits don't form through willpower. They form through consistent repetition of a trigger-action-reward loop. You need a specific trigger, a clear action, and an immediate reward. When those three elements are present and repeated consistently, your brain starts automating the behavior. An effective productivity bundle will teach you exactly how to design these habit loops for the specific productivity routines you need. Morning startup routines. Evening shutdown routines. Weekly review processes. And here's the beautiful part. Once these routines become habitual, they require almost zero willpower. They just happen automatically. That frees up your mental energy for the actual creative work you need to do. Let me give you a personal example. I used to struggle every morning with getting started. I'd sit down at my desk, then immediately think of 17 other things I should do first. Check email. Look at social media. Make another coffee. Organize my desk. By the time I actually started working, 30 to 45 minutes had evaporated. Every single day. Now, I have a 5-minute startup routine that I do the exact same way every morning. I sit down. I open my task manager. I identify my one most important task for the day. I set a timer for 90 minutes. I put my phone in another room. I start. That's it. 5 steps. Same order. Every time. And because I've done this hundreds of times now, it's completely automatic. My brain doesn't debate it anymore. I sit down and the routine just happens. That one habit change gave me back almost 4 hours per week of productive time. Just from eliminating the morning startup friction. That's the power of proper habit formation. Now, here's where most productivity systems completely drop the ball. They ignore the psychology of procrastination. Champions, let me ask you something. When you procrastinate, do you think it's because you're lazy? Most people do. They beat themselves up. They think, if I just had more discipline, if I just tried harder, I could stop procrastinating. But that's not how procrastination works. Procrastination is not a character flaw. It's an emotional regulation problem. You're not avoiding the task. You're avoiding the feeling that comes with the task. Maybe it's anxiety because the project feels overwhelming. Maybe it's fear of judgment because you care what people will think of your work. Maybe it's uncertainty because you don't know exactly how to do it. Maybe it's boredom because the task is tedious and your brain is craving stimulation. Whatever the feeling is, your brain is trying to protect you from discomfort by directing your attention to something more pleasant. Scrolling social media feels better than facing the anxiety of a blank page. Organizing your desk feels productive without the risk of failure. This is why willpower doesn't work against procrastination. You're not fighting laziness. You're fighting your brain's protective mechanisms. A comprehensive productivity bundle needs to address this directly. It needs to help you identify what specific emotions trigger your procrastination, and then give you targeted strategies for each one. For example, if you procrastinate because tasks feel overwhelming, the solution is breaking them into smaller pieces. Not just telling yourself to focus harder. If you procrastinate because of perfectionism and fear of judgment, the solution is practicing imperfect action. Creating deliberately bad first drafts. Removing the stakes. If you procrastinate because tasks are boring, The solution might be temptation bundling, pairing the boring task with something enjoyable. Different root causes require different solutions. And this is exactly the kind of nuanced approach you need in a quality productivity system. Now, let's talk about what happens when you actually implement these systems properly. What changes in your daily life? First, you will start finishing your most important task within the first 90 minutes of your workday. Not at the end of the day when you're exhausted. Not this vague someday soon. But every single morning, your most important work gets done while your brain is fresh. This alone is transformative. Because once you've finished your most important task, the rest of the day is gravy. Even if everything else falls apart, you've already won the day. Second, you'll dramatically reduce context switching. And this matters more than most people realize. Every time you switch between tasks, your brain needs time to reorient. Researchers call this attention residue. Part of your mind is still thinking about the previous task, which means you're not bringing your full cognitive power to the new task. If you're switching tasks every 10 minutes all day long, you're operating at maybe 40 or 50% of your actual capacity. Your brain is constantly in transition, never fully engaged. When you implement proper time blocking and focus systems, you batch similar tasks together. You give your brain permission to go deep into one type of work for extended periods. And your output quality increases dramatically. Third, you'll reclaim hours of time every single week. Not by working longer, by eliminating the hidden time drains. Most professionals lose 5 to 10 hours per week to what I call zombie time. Checking email mindlessly. Scrolling social media out of habit. Sitting in unnecessary meetings. Doing busy work that creates the illusion of productivity without moving anything meaningful forward. When you have clear systems and priorities, you become ruthless about protecting your time. You say no to meetings that don't serve your goals. You batch your email instead of checking it constantly. You recognize busy work for what it is and eliminate it. Those reclaimed hours don't just give you more work time. They give you more life. More time with your family. More time for hobbies. More time to rest without guilt. Fourth, and this might be the most valuable outcome, you will experience psychological peace. Right now, you probably carry a constant low-level anxiety. That nagging feeling that you should be doing something. That you are forgetting something important. That you are falling behind. Even when you're supposedly relaxing, you can't fully relax because part of your mind is spinning through everything you need to do. When you have systems you trust, that anxiety diminishes. You are not trying to hold everything in your head. Your systems capture it. You are not wondering if you're working on the right thing. Your priority frameworks tell you. You are not worrying if you will remember important tasks. Your checklists have it covered. This mental clarity is priceless. It allows you to be fully present wherever you are. Fully engaged with work during work time. Fully relaxed during rest time. Not this constant half-present state that most people live in. Now, I want to address something important. You might be wondering, does this require me to become some rigid productivity robot? Do I have to schedule every minute and lose all spontaneity? Absolutely not. Good productivity systems create more freedom, not less. They handle the routine decisions automatically, which frees up your mental space for creativity, spontaneity, and the things that actually matter. Think about it this way. If you have a morning routine that automatically launches you into productive work, you don't have to waste mental energy every morning deciding how to start your day. That energy is now available for creative problem solving. If you have clear boundaries around your work time, you can fully disconnect during your personal time without guilt. That's more freedom, not less. The structure creates the space for flexibility. Let me shift gears and talk about how to evaluate whether a productivity system is right for you. Because not every system works for every person. Here are the questions you need to ask yourself honestly. First, do I want practical implementation tools, or do I prefer conceptual frameworks that I design my own systems around? Some people love reading productivity philosophy and creating custom systems. If that's you, books might be better than bundles. But if you're someone who has 17 productivity books you never implemented, you probably need done-for-you systems with templates, checklists, and step-by-step protocols. Second question. Can I realistically commit 10 to 30 minutes per day for 30 to 90 days? Be brutally honest. If you genuinely don't have 10 minutes per day, you're not going to implement any system. Save your money. But if you are spending 10 minutes per day scrolling social media or checking email mindlessly, then yes, you have the time. It's just currently being wasted. Third question. Do I need flexibility in how I consume information? If you can sit down with a workbook for an hour, great. But most busy professionals can't. You need materials you can consume while commuting, exercising, or doing household tasks. Audio formats are crucial for busy people. If a productivity system is only available as a book or video course that requires your full attention, it might not fit your life. Fourth question. Am I willing to address the psychological barriers, not just the tactical systems? If you only want tactics, you'll keep hitting the same walls. Your procrastination will resurface. Your focus will falter. Your habits will slip. But if you're willing to examine why you procrastinate, what fears are driving your behavior, and how your beliefs about work affect your productivity, then you can create lasting change. Fifth question. Do I need systems that work with chaos, or do I need systems that require perfect conditions? If your life is messy, unpredictable, and full of interruptions, like most people, you need systems designed for chaos. Systems with buffers, flexibility, and recovery protocols. If you're looking for advice that assumes you have 8 uninterrupted hours every day and 0 external demands, it won't work for your reality. Now, let me talk specifically about comprehensive bundles versus piecing together your own system from multiple sources. The advantage of a well-designed bundle is integration. Everything works together. The focus strategies support the habit formation. The energy management informs the time blocking. The procrastination psychology explains why the other systems might fail and how to troubleshoot them. When you piece together advice from multiple books, courses, and articles, you often get contradictory recommendations. One expert says, wake up at 5 a.m. Another says, sleep schedules don't matter. One says schedule every minute. Another says rigid schedules kill creativity. Who is right? Probably both, in different contexts. But you're left trying to figure out which advice applies to your situation. A comprehensive bundle has already done that integration work for you. The systems are designed to complement each other. The disadvantage of bundles is that they're less customizable than building your own system from scratch. But for most people, having a good ready-made system, they actually use beats having a perfect custom system they never implement. Let me address something that might be on your mind. What if I've already tried lots of productivity systems and nothing worked? This is such a common concern, and it's completely valid. Here's what usually happens. You try a system with enthusiasm. It works for a few days. Then life disrupts it. A crisis happens. You get sick. Work gets crazy. The system falls apart. And you never pick it back up because you feel like you failed. But here's the truth. Systems don't fail because they're bad. They fail because life happens, and you don't have a protocol for getting back on track after disruption. An effective productivity bundle anticipates this. It includes restart protocols, reset processes, troubleshooting guides for the most common failure points. Because the question isn't if your routine will be disrupted. It's when. And having a clear plan for how to restart makes all the difference. Another reason previous systems might have failed is that you tried to change everything at once. You decided to wake up earlier, start exercising, meditate, journal, completely redesign your work schedule, and build 5 new habits simultaneously. That's a recipe for failure. Your brain can't handle that much change at once. A proper implementation plan introduces one system per week. You master each element before adding the next. This graduated approach has much higher success rates. So if you've failed at productivity systems before, it probably wasn't because you're incapable. It was because the implementation strategy was flawed. Now let's talk about time investment. How long does it actually take to implement a comprehensive productivity system? The content itself might be a few hours of audio and some workbooks. You could consume everything in a weekend if you wanted to. But that's not the right approach. The implementation period is 90 days. That's how long it takes for new habits to become relatively automatic, and for the systems to become your new normal. During the first 30 days, you're installing the core routines, your focus environment, your time blocking framework, your morning and evening routines. This requires conscious effort every day. It's not automatic yet. During days 30 to 60, the routines start feeling easier. They're not automatic, but they're not requiring massive willpower either. You're refining the systems based on what's working and what's not. During days 60 to 90, the systems start running on autopilot. You're not thinking about your morning routine anymore. You just do it. Your time blocking happens naturally. Your focus protocols are habitual. After 90 days, you have sustainable systems that don't require constant willpower to maintain. So yes, it's a 3-month commitment. But compare that to spending years feeling scattered and overwhelmed. 3 months of focused implementation for years of improved productivity? That's an incredible return on investment. Now, I want to address cost. Because I know some of you are thinking, I can find free productivity advice everywhere. Why would I pay for a bundle? You're right. There's tons of free productivity content online, including this podcast. But here's what free content usually doesn't provide: complete systems, integration, implementation tools, templates, checklists, step-by-step protocols. Free content gives you ideas. Paid bundles give you systems. Well, the more you pay attention. It's the difference between someone explaining how a car works versus handing you the keys to a car that's already built and ready to drive. Think about how much time you've spent consuming free productivity content. Hours? Dozens of hours? Maybe hundreds of hours if you're honest? Now think about how much actually changed. If you spent 100 hours consuming content, but your productivity is still frustrating you, that free content was actually expensive. It cost you 100 hours of your life without producing results. A comprehensive bundle that costs a few $100s, but actually transforms your productivity in 90 days? That's cheap compared to years of frustrated struggling. I'm not saying free content is worthless. I create free content. But there's a limit to what free content can do. At some point, you need complete systems. Let me talk about community and support, because this is another factor to consider. Some productivity bundles include community access. Groups where you can ask questions, share wins, troubleshoot challenges, and connect with other people implementing the same systems. If you're someone who thrives on accountability and community, this can be incredibly valuable. Seeing other people's progress motivates you. Asking questions accelerates your learning. Sharing your wins reinforces your commitment. If you're more introverted and prefer working independently, community access might be less important to you. The core materials matter more. Know yourself. Choose accordingly. All right, champions, we've covered a lot of ground. Let me bring this all together. Productivity isn't about working more hours. It is not about hustling until you burn out. It is not about becoming a robot who schedules every minute. Real productivity is about doing meaningful work without constant stress. It's about finishing your important tasks while your brain is fresh. It's about having energy left at the end of the day for the people and activities you love. It's about replacing the guilt and overwhelm with clarity and peace. And achieving that requires more than willpower or motivation. It requires systems. Systems for managing your attention. Systems for protecting your energy. Systems for building sustainable habits. Systems for overcoming procrastination. When you have those systems, everything changes. You stop feeling like you're constantly behind. You start feeling in control. You finish your days satisfied instead of exhausted. You have mental space for creativity and strategic thinking, instead of just reacting to whatever demands your attention loudest. This is completely achievable for you. Not someday. Not after you get less busy. Right now. The question is whether you're ready to commit to building these systems. If you are, a comprehensive productivity bundle designed specifically for busy professionals might be exactly what you need. Something like the Productivity Bundle, which addresses all the elements we talked about today. Focus fundamentals, energy management, habit formation, procrastination psychology, all integrated into a 90-day implementation plan. You can find more information about that bundle on my website at zippham.org. And whether you choose that specific bundle or build your own system, the principles we discussed today apply. Most importantly, take action. Don't let this be another piece of productivity content you consume and then forget. Here's what I want you to do right now. Not later, right now. Pause this podcast for just 2 minutes. Identify the one biggest productivity challenge you're facing right now. Is it focus? Is it procrastination? Is it time management? Is it energy? Just one. Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. Now commit to addressing that one challenge this week. Not all of them. Just one. If it's focus, implement one focus strategy this week. Clear your workspace. Turn off notifications. Schedule one 90-minute deep work block. If it's procrastination, identify why you're avoiding one specific task and apply one technique to overcome it. Just one action, this week. Because transformation doesn't happen through consuming more content. It happens through implementation. And speaking of implementation, make sure you check out the video description below this episode. I've put together comprehensive resources for you. There's the Printable Focus Toolkit, completely free, with templates for time blocking, energy tracking, and habit formation. There are digital detox checklists, productivity planning worksheets, step-by-step implementation guides. Everything we discussed today has supporting materials in the description. Download them. Use them. They're free tools designed to help you implement immediately. And if you want to go even deeper into these topics, I've published 3 books on Amazon Kindle that complement everything we talked about today. The Focus Unleashed dives deep into attention management and creating distraction-free environments. The Death of Fear addresses the psychological barriers that keep you stuck and teaches you how to take action despite fear. And The Procrastination Killers gives you specific strategies for overcoming different types of procrastination. All 3 are available on Amazon Kindle. If these topics resonate with you, check them out and let me know what you think. You can also visit my website at diep.org for more high-quality self-help content, resources, and tools designed specifically for busy professionals who want to master themselves and level up in life. I publish weekly content on productivity, focus, habit formation, and personal growth. If today's episode was valuable to you, there's a whole library of resources waiting. Before we close, I want to say something to you directly, champions. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not failing. You're just trying to be productive without the right systems. And that's not your fault. Most of us were never taught how to manage our attention, energy, and time effectively. But now you know better. And knowing better means you can do better. You have everything you need to transform your productivity. The principles are clear. The systems exist. The tools are available. The only question is whether you'll take action. I believe you will. Because you listened to this entire episode. That means you are serious about change. You are not just casually interested. You are committed. So take that commitment and channel it into one action this week. Just one. And then another next week. And another the week after that. That's how transformation happens. Not through one massive overhaul, but through consistent small actions that compound over time. You've got this, champions. I am here supporting you every step of the way. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of the Self-Help Podcast. I hope you discovered something valuable, something you can immediately put into action to transform your productivity and, ultimately, your life. If this episode resonated with you, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our Tuesday morning releases. Share this episode with someone who could benefit from building better productivity and deep work systems. When we lift each other up, we all rise together as champions. Remember, as I stated before, I've put together all the resources we discussed today right in the video description below. It includes the Focus Toolkit, time blocking templates, energy tracking worksheets, habit formation guides, and step-by-step protocols to implement everything we covered today. I genuinely hope that my content can contribute to your personal development journey ahead. Feel free to check them out, give them a read, and let me know if they connect with you. You can also visit my website at pham.org to explore more productivity resources and discover the best productivity bundle for professionals that we discussed in detail today. Again, thanks a lot for tuning in, my champions. I'm Pham, the creator of this podcast and your companion on the path of life transformation. Until next time, stay focused, stay motivated, and keep winning the game of life.